Hey, thanks for stopping around. My name is Len David Hart, and I just tried to lay out this sill, and I'll try to explain to folks, whoever wants to listen, how I did this. Now, the lines that I marked out on this piece of aluminum trim coil, PVC, they all coincide with this outside corner, and a little bit inside of this corner, a little bit underneath this corner, and that outside corner again on that end. I just wanted to show the layout lines and explain the layout lines and how I get the metal to bend where I want it to bend when I do this by hand. All this stuff is done by hand. Here's where my sill's going to be underneath the window. Now here's one of my flaps. These flaps that I have, I put a small cut. You can see this cut. That cut helps me to bend this metal very precisely. Here's my layout line. Here's the cut. This piece will get bent first. This is the bottom of the sill. When you cut these corners out, you have to take care not to use the brunt of the shears. You have to use the very nose, and you have to inch your way up there very delicately. Otherwise, you'll distort all this corner, and you'll have an ugly looking outside corner. So care must be taken to gently take these and cut these out so they're nice. Again, here's the bottom of my sill. Little cut I make about 1/4 inch. That helps me to bend this piece around. Now this piece is angled because I don't want this to interfere with the face. I don't want it to interfere with the face because this piece is sloping down. And just to show how good this bends with these little cuts in here, I'm going to do it with one hand. This is the bottom of my sill. All these lines coincide with that inside corner on my exterior casing. So I'm just going to do this with my fingers. Normally I do two hands, but today I'm just going to do this one hand. Now, this strength of this corner right here holds this tight, and then the metal gives at this bend here, which helps me to make this a very sharp bend. You can see that. Hopefully that's good for you to see. This is just how I do. It's not necessarily a how-to video. That's one. Continue to bend these around. This is my other side. I've already got my cut made. That's gonna weaken this edge, and the strength of this corner will hold this from folding under. So we're just going to ahead and bend that by hand with one hand. Bending it with one hand. Go a little over, come back. That's not too shabby for one hand. You can always take your hammer and hit it, chap it gently, and that'll help coax it where it wants to go. And you would tap like right here. See, this line's showing a little bit, but that's okay. That's not going to hurt anything. Then of course the next, there's your bottom. That's the bottom of the sill. The sill's going to go on just like that. Let me back this camera out some. The sill's going to go on like this. You can see the profile of the sill. But that's how that works. You got to have layout lines. The layout lines got to be very accurately laid out from the top to the bottom. Also, when you bend, this piece would get bent next, then this piece. This isn't watertight. It's more like for cosmetic. It's not necessarily watertight, but the majority of the water that falls on this sill, not that much is going to fall on this part. And the sill is designed to shed water off and past the building. And the way that the bottom lip on the sill or the leg on the sill is bent, it's bent up so the water won't calculate back up. It has to drip off the front of the sill. So that's just a cosmetic thing. It does look nice. The only problem with aluminum is if you're working on a wall and you got pump jacks set up and you're, working on this, working on that, you could whack at something and put a dent, and then you have to, you know, take it apart and fix it. But it is clean and crisp and sharp looking. So that's just some of the things. You know, again, I would continue to bend these pieces around. Then I bend this over last. I'd fit it. I already have removed the burr. I'll talk about how I removed this burr with a knife. Usually there's a burr on both. I have the old style break where you have to, I have just cut everything with a utility knife. Nothing gets cut with those roller cutters. I don't have that. I never did have that with my brake. It does accept that tool, but I don't have that tool. So anyway, that's just some of the things. I just like to share that. If you're interested in this kind of work, you know, it's just something, it's food for thought. All right, well, thanks for stopping around. My name is Len David Hart, and I appreciate your company, and maybe something here can help you along the way.